I'm in fact recording this, which I now am. Okay, so hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of world building. We are going to be doing some of this, and then, like I said, we'll be switching to Deep Rock Galactic later, as soon as the crew arrives. So, if you missed the stream from yesterday, the status of the world at the moment is not that one, it's this one. Looks something like this. The thing that we worked on the most was shifting out how the lizardmen were functioning. I wasn't at all happy with the previous version of the lizardmen. I wanted to add a couple more races down into this region, which I have now done. So we've got the Leonin, we've got the Lamia, we've got the Nagas, both Guardian and Spirit, Salamanders, and then lizardmen. And then there are basically 3 factions, probably 4 eventually, of lizardmen. So I think that this whole area is going to be a lot more interesting now. And then we will also have the Devils and Gnolls coming in later on. Although, one of the things that we are now discussing is what to do with the Devils. I'm not entirely happy with the current representation of the Devils. I want to make something of my own. We're going to call them Infernals. So actually that is one thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to switch out their name and call them Infernals. And yeah, that will be good. I think the other thing I'm going to do is go to the race overview, and where it says Devils, I'm just going to change that to Infernals. Cool. But the thing I want to do today, because that will be somewhat connected to the Infernals and how they function, is the Pantheons. It is time that we start talking about the different gods that currently exist. Where would I put that under? Pantheon? Maybe? Well, let's put it under races for now. We'll start a new article. We'll call this Pantheon. And then we got the Human Pantheon. We got the Elven. We got the Dwarven. And that will do for now. Eventually we'll need to add like lizardmen, but I don't want to focus too heavily on that just yet. And then the other thing I had going was, I think this was back when I was still planning all of this. I did make a note for myself of ideas about religion. I literally have just one Google Doc just called religion, and that was all I had in it. Here we go. So I'm just going to just straight up copy this. And we'll basically copy and paste it as we get to the pertinent bits. So what do we have then? And before I go any further, I want to create this article so it's actually saved. Make it public. We'll make it published. Alright, so we have various different areas of responsibility for the different gods. And I've had a few ideas, like the only one that's really here at the moment is Ninyo, also known as Nin. Which is, honestly, a bunch of these gods are probably just going to be previous characters, because that's just a good place to start. And Nin, I think, is actually a really interesting one. So he is the god of science, logic, medicine, and time, also known as the Doctor, the Lord of Change, the Philosopher, the Lord of Time. No, I did not mean this to go into Doctor Who stuff. He just has a lot of similarities to him. He is true neutral, as inevitable and merciless as time itself. He is also a psychopath, or at least a sociopath. Completely uncaring about emotion or empathy, not emotion, empathy. And his plane is basically a hall of doors leading to new possibilities. This is kind of why he's also the Lord of Time, because he can go through any of those doors and end up anywhere else. He is the Lord of Portals. I might even make him the Lord of Travel. And his symbol is the pavinated eye. And he is often... So here's one thing. Do I want gods to actually appear in the world? In some ways I do. Like, here's the thing. They will never have a direct influence. That's like one of the cosmic rules that led to the Mordius Cataclysm. The gods are aware of how bad this can be. So the gods cannot take a direct role. They cannot unsheath weapons and fight. But they can appear as an avatar and basically offer guidance to their followers. So this one, for example, will often appear as a doctor and apothecary. And that is simply the fact that in my own D&D campaigns I've run, I like the gods appearing from time to time because it gives the players something tangible to interact with. And I think that is quite important. Difference between helmsmanship and instantaneous wormhole portal travel. Yeah, probably. Like, we'll have someone who's like the Wanderer or the Traveller or something like that. But anyway, the different areas of responsibility, what are these called? The doctrines? The... No. Paths. So we've got magic, dreams, and the imagination. I think that's a good one to have linked. Then we've got science, logic, medicine, and time. Chaos, law, order, civilization, the moon, the sun, fire, water, earth, fertility, growth, life. Although, one that I do like doing is actually having chaos and life linked. Because life is flipping chaotic. So, maybe even doing that. Air, death, memory, history. And then mischief, trickery, cunning. Art, craftsmanship, good intentions. Domains, that's the word. There you go. So we have all of these different domains. And then we also have the Hobgoblin God, which is the only one that I've kind of gone, this is what I want him to do. God of martial skill, discipline, and life duty. The Hobgoblin turn for life and duty is actually the same. They only have one word. And he is stoic, has a big shield and spear, no armor, depends on his allies to protect him. And he is the one that basically makes a Hobgoblins who they are now. Life cannot exist without chaos. Would it follow for the god of death to be the god of order then? No. So I want order to specifically be about structure. Oh, there's one that's missing. Justice, law. Actually, we have law there. Now, order is not the same as justice. It's actually one of my favourite political points. Order and justice are very, very different. Those are probably somewhat... It's a love-hate relationship between order and justice. Sometimes they're opposed, sometimes they're aligned. You would hope they're aligned, but they not always are. So yeah, these are the different domains that I have in mind at the moment. At least for the human pantheon. I should highlight that this is the human pantheon. And some of these gods may well be older than others. Like, I would imagine, actually, that Nin is one of the newer ones. And yes, the Fisher of Souls, I do like that, and I think... I might even make... Death, Memory, and History, the Fisher of Souls. Because also, fishermen often share grandiose tales. So even though his usual role is the Fisher of Souls, he's there with his trident, going into the ocean of souls and then picking out the next soul to be born, basically. He's also the storyteller. So when he's not out fishing, he's telling stories. And yeah, you're not wrong. Death should... This is the complicated thing. Because the gods came after magic. So what is death? What is the afterlife? Now we're getting really deep. Because that was one of the early ideas I was playing with. Basically, there's a great ocean of souls, and then you have the Fisher. He picks the soul. That soul is then given a new form. Which is a cool symbolically. But what then is the afterlife, if there even is one? Are we going to have the god of death be the second oldest god as something had to die for death to exist? That's interesting. I mean, that's kind of... That happens a lot in mythology, if you think about it. Like, Ymir in Norse mythology. His body is basically the world. His skull is the mountains, his blood is the oceans, that type of thing. And then the gods live in that. Could also be the gods that are assigned tasks can take specific souls, but it naturally happens. The souls, but random. People wanting to commune with the mass of souls in order to see the loved ones. Yeah, which is kind of why I think that the Fisher of Souls is not necessarily... The Fisher of Souls might just be a cosmic entity. There's no reason we can't have two gods of death, and actually that can sometimes be interesting. So the Fisher of Souls would be more of a... I can't remember the name now. The Greek guy guards the river Styx. God claims your soul after you die, you become their property, and the gods effectively burn souls to extract the magical essence. Well, it's in fact a cosmic slaughterhouse. No. It's a bit too dark. Cosmic god of death, and then the culture's god of death. It wasn't actually Charon I was thinking of. Hades. Think of Hades. So what then is the difference between Charon and Hades? Oh, Charon is the boatman. Hades is the god of. There you go. That's what it is. So the fairy dude would effectively be the Fisher of Souls. And then Hades would be the god of death, memory, and history. I mean, actually, the Fisher of Souls would be the god of death and rebirth. Technically. And it doesn't need to be a literal ocean. Different gods may have rule over different areas, which is the afterlife. Then you are plucked out of the afterlife by the Fisher of Souls, who kind of sits above it all. So I think that this is an important question. What is the afterlife? General figuring out how the afterlife works is important for that one, and the effect it has on resurrection spells. I mean, resurrection basically works like the Fisher of Souls, except that you are pinching one of the souls from the Ocean of Souls. Space in the heavens carved out by the gods. I mean, so here's one of the quandaries. I've tried to keep things as scientifically plausible as possible. but theology is kind of outside of the realms of science, which is why it gets a bit more difficult. Because like the different planes of existence, the plane of fire, earth, water, etc., are all planets. And they're accessible by the portals which link those planets. But then the afterlife is separate to this. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like that, Cheetah William. Yeah. Gods carve out their own island within the Ocean of Souls. Ooh, I like that. That's really good. So the Ocean of Souls is effectively infinity. Would forcibly reincarnating anger the fisher as it steals his future prey? Yes. Yes, it would. Or else you need to make a deal with the fisher in order for a resurrection reincarnation effect to work. Hey, Cleanus, thought there wasn't going to be a stream today. There was. Check the schedule. And yes, I saw the update. Haven't had a chance to read it yet, though. D&D official stream just ended. Yeah, Trips was talking about that on my D&D Discord, but I need to catch up on that later. Kinda like the Daedra in Oblivion. Hadn't even drawn that parallel, but yeah, I guess. It's actually, like, as much as I've played Oblivion and Skyrim, I was always the least interested in the planes of Oblivion and the Daedra. Like, I don't think I did any of the Daedra quests. I don't know what it is, just like gods and pantheons don't interest me on just a fundamental level, they just don't. Which is why I always find this element of world building really difficult. Geopolitics, that's my thing. That's my jam. But I like this. The gods having their own individual islands within the Ocean of Souls, that ties that neatly together. What exactly it is, I don't think matters. I'm not even going to say that it's a planet within an area. I'm just going to say that this is an aspect of infinity. This is the unexplainable part. And I think that's okay. And then whenever a soul dies, they re-enter the Ocean of Souls. Which also means that devils are basically impossible. At least how they're understood with the whole soul trade, which I think is a good thing. So now, what are the infernals? So the celestials... I need to go back to my Discord, because that was very nicely phrased, and this is something I'm definitely borrowing. Celestials, born by echoes and dreams of the gods in deep slumber, try to lead to the rebirth of a god they sprung from, only to realize they would rejoin their beings once they wake. Will they push on or try to keep the god forgotten? Which then leads to the question of what are the infernals? Where are tieflings from? See, I'm kind of moving away from the natives of the Plane of Fire, because that's already the Ifrit. There's a whole bunch of creatures that are already native to the Realm of Fire. And then it becomes very messy, like what's the difference between a tiefling and a fire genasi? Are there islands like floating, or stable if floating? What about an island meets each other? I'm thinking the islands would be kind of like... What game was that? That was... The Immortals? Well, there was a game where there's different floating islands with different gods on them. I'm not going to worry too much about the actual structure. Infernals could be the cursed descendant of a god. Infernals could be the same as Celestials, only they're expressly trying to keep their parent god dead. Or dormant. But how would that help them? What about mortals that seek deific power, but succumb to the power becoming the first devil's demons? And in this, I think that demons are basically just creatures of chaos. They appear, they go on a rampage, they get killed off. The end. That's all demons are. Devils, I think, are a lot more interesting, or infernals, I think, are a lot more interesting. Ooh. That makes sense. That might make sense. What if infernals are actually descendants of the god of law, order, and civilization? Because we have the one instance where Mordius tried to directly involve himself in material affairs, and he got shanked for it. Who's to say that was the only attempt? Because I could definitely see the god of order trying to impose order by building a structure, and that structure are the Infernals. That sounds more like angels than devils, though. But yeah, they'd be the remnants of his attempt to do that on the world. Which is why they're so rigidly hierarchical. Infernals were made as a response to Mordius, so something like that can't happen again. That's also interesting. Actively seek out meddling gods to kill them. Ooh, okay, okay. Agents of the God of Law tracking errant gods in order to prevent another Mordius cataclysm. What are the Infernals in D&D? Devils. But I want to get away from the idea of hell and the abyss. So are God's chosen people were cursed to become infernal, or was that the structure in question? Undecided? Infernals were created in case the gods started fighting. Yeah, kind of. I need me book again. How are we doing for time? I think... Was it 6 or 6:30 that we were going to switch? Let's just double check. 7... 7:30. Could have sworn one of them said 6. Oh, Igel said he'd be around from 6-ish. Okay. So, unsure. Hell planes always feel kind of lazy. I fully agree. This is why I'm trying to get away from devils and angels. Or maybe the infernals are just trying to stop the gods being reborn. Trying to stop them being recreated, trying to stop the cycle. In which case they would effectively be agents of it's chaos, though. The thing is, I really like the aspect of law that devils have. The fact that they are lawful evil. That's what I want to tap into. Lawful evil, I think, is interesting. And I want to keep that aspect of the devils. And if they're, like, trying to stop the cycle, that's chaos. The cycle is absolutely order. Not justice, but order. Is evil an actual force in your world? No. I think they're more of a tool of the gods in order to keep numbers low. Yeah, quite possibly. Rolos. Didn't have any here. This was Monstrous Manual. Because here's one of the things that's a bit of a struggle. I still need to use, like, the monsters in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm trying to make this as easy to port across to 5th edition as possible. So I want to make as few changes to the actual monsters as possible. So what devils do we have? Barbed Devil, which is the spiky dude. Bearded Devil, which is a bigger version of the spiky dude. Bone Devil. Which is another spiky dude. Chain Devil. Has chains. Araignées, who do whip stuff. Horned Devils, who are like your regular foot soldier. Ice Devils, who are the ones in Icewind. Imps, which are like their messengers. Lemures, which are souls gone wrong. So Lemures in this would basically be some kind of corrupted Promescence. And then Pit Fiends, who are like the captains. I mean, I quite like that the Infernals, their idea is keeping the number of gods low, because they would be in direct opposition to the Celestials, which I think is a good thing. The Celestials basically trying to recreate slumbering gods, or reanimate slumbering gods. And then the Infernals are trying to stop that. So instead of souls, they would deal in Promescence. Bring them enough Promescence and they'll do stuff for you. Gods are powered by worshippers, yes. What are paladins powered by? Well, in 5th edition they're completely unrelated to faith. Paladins are powered by the strength of their ideal. So that's kind of a thing we're dodging. It's clerics that are the concerning one. Where do they mostly live? On another planet, on a world somewhere? That is another good question. I mean, if the gods are technically a cosmic force, then the Infernals probably are too. In fact, we could even link the Infernals to the afterlife somehow. What if the Infernals are like the police of the afterlife? They're the ones to make sure that the souls stay where they're supposed to be until they're chosen. Like, they still obey the cycle of life, which is when the Fisher picks a soul, they are done. And this also means that the Infernals would be the ones that chase after you if you get resurrected. Yeah, the Infernals are the crew of the Fisher. I think that's even better. So, someone who is resurrected or has otherwise cheated death get the Infernals going after them. The anti-resurrectionist is pretty compelling. Yeah, I like that. And they may... This also would actually kind of mean they're not diametrically opposed to the Celestials, they just dislike them. Gods are also supposed to stay dead. It's overnight. Be fantastic in campaign. Player character gets resurrected and the creepy devils start hounding them. Exactly. And it gives a real negative to being resurrected. It then becomes a bit more of a choice. Like, yeah, sure, you can be resurrected, but then you got these guys coming after you for the rest of your life. And it also means that we have a artificially extended life creature. Like, they would be the arch enemies of things like vampires and liches. Yeah, Infernals don't die. They still have that same rule with devils, where if they get killed in the Prime Material, they'll just return to the to the Ocean of Souls. Because they are beings of the Ocean of Souls. Would resurrections have an impact then, since it's pulling the resurrected people's power to protect themselves against the Infernals that follow? Possibly, or else they just believe that they're powerful enough to avoid the devils. Or unimportant enough. Like, for the low-level ones, they probably only send low-level demons, like maybe... imps, or something like that. Whereas if it's like a king being resurrected, then they may well send a pit fiend after them. Would the Ocean of Souls have predators in it? Yes. Demons. And there we go. Demons now have a place. So what happens to a soul that's devoured by a demon? It's just gone. And that's why there are gods to protect the souls. Interestingly, that's also what the devils are doing. And infernals, sorry. Need to start calling them infernals. Broken down into its pure essence. See, that's something which... No, I don't think so. Because prim essence is not soul juice. It's separate. It's something else. Prim essence is what gods are made of, not what sentient beings are. It's not the power of the mind. I definitely want to try to keep that separate. Or they could be transformed into demons. That's true. Devoured souls become twisted and demonic. So demons are more of an illness. Pestilence. Do demons have an aspect of knowing untold amounts of knowledge? No, I don't want to get too complicated with the demons. Demons are just purely a devastating force. They are the ultimate agent of chaos. I mean, there are lots of lesser demon types. Okay, good. I really like that. So, are there any domains that emerge from that? Can demon souls be destroyed? Yeah, I would say so. What do we do with angels? Angels come under the celestial line. Because here's the thing, I reckon, and this is something that's never made sense to me, like, why would the god of war have an angel? Why would the god of thunder have an angel? They wouldn't. They'd have their own agents. Would clerics know about this? Probably. I don't think that this would be a hidden thing. Or at least they would believe to understand some element of what's going on here. Do some fanatics try to make their souls devoured by the demons, so that at death they may become more demonic immortal in the process? Probably! People are stupid. Air, weather and storms. Ooh, yes. Good one. We already had one of air. I'll just get rid of that. And let's put you down with these. Is there anything else we can do with water? Hungering Vulture is Air Storm God. Anti-Nemesis Fisher. He tries and sneaks the souls the Fisher lines in. This puts danger in the deep in the sea with demons. That's interesting. Hungering Vulture. Nemesis of the Fisher, as he's always trying to steal souls from the ocean. Brings a deep. Brings a real fear of the deep ocean. I like that, that's good. Art and creativity we already have. That is here. Art, craftsmanship and good intentions. Kind of wondering if God of the Ocean and of the Sky is the same one. It's the Vulture. Which interestingly will mean no, I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to have two different gods of the ocean. In one case, the Vulture is somewhat related to it, and I think it's a good way. But I also want, like, the ocean can be giving. It's a source of the ocean's bounty, and I don't want the ocean to be, like, a religiously hated thing, because there is a lot of ocean that people would then not travel. More gods is better, more strife. I don't want to have too many though, because I'm also thinking this from the DM's perspective, and that is a pain to keep track of. Huzzah! Evil Snowball, thank you very much for the 37-month resubscription. Very much appreciate the ongoing support there. Thank you. Since water has so many distinct mutable structures, that could be included in the domain. True. Sorry, I just thought another one. Oh no, how the hell did I miss that? Where's the God of Wealth? Why would the human and elven gods differ? In terms of what they're responsible for, they probably don't. In terms of the names, they probably do. I mostly just split them up at the moment just because it's more interesting to do so. I think ultimately I'm not going to create a god for a pantheon for every single era of the game. This is kind of end game pantheon, which is why the Hobgoblin one is there. And in fact, I'm kind of thinking that the Hobgoblin one probably defeated the God of Warfare. In fact, I'm just going to say he is that one. Hobgoblin God might even be the... That might be why the Alexander instance disappeared. He became deified. Is the God of Wealth a dragon? I had not considered that. That's actually quite an interesting concept for the Draconics. What if the dragons are atheists? They believe the dragons themselves are the gods. It would give them a very different relationship with Promescence. How would Dragonborn clerics work? They'd be more like warlocks. What if the dragons are the gods of wealth? They'd be gods of wealth and life, because remember the dragons hordes also create the other dragon kin. Archer Harpooner God, who's the only one to bring down the vulture by harpooning his wings. I mean, that's pretty much the Fisher. I don't see why the Fisher wouldn't be the same. Like, having that rivalry between those two, we don't need to have a third party in there as well. Do we have a Dwarven God? Why would there just be one? Because I think the way to approach this is to create like the core pantheon, and then for the other races determine where they differ. Because there's going to be a lot of overlap. Like, there probably is a singular god of justice and honor, for example. It's just that they are personified in different ways by the different pantheons. It'd be the same difference as, like, the Greek gods versus the Roman gods. Travel, Curiosity, Adventure, we already have. Oh, Luck and Fortune. I would say that that's probably different. Alright, let's start actually personifying some of these rather than constantly creating new domains. I'm trying to keep these limited. This is where I always struggle. Like, I never know how to do this. This is why I just have, like, previous characters from other campaigns. That's who Churlish, Idoash, and Ninio are. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to shamelessly bring previous D&D characters and turn them into gods. Because Burleth basically was the paragon of travel, curiosity, adventure, and brewing. Have I ever told you about Burleth, actually? He was a great character. He was a dwarf fighter I had. And he started the game with a trinket, which was a recipe. And it was a really silly one. It was like elbow grease and essence of the griffin. And it was basically a list of random ingredients his brother had given him, his younger brother, because Burleth stood to inherit the brewery business, and his younger brother wanted to take the business. Burleth has a wisdom of something like 7, so he said, okay, this is the greatest beer ever known to dwarfkind. So what you need to do is hunt down each of these ingredients in this list to make this beer. And he did. So the entire thing that Burleth did is he went out into the world just tasting everything. Like, I even had him drinking stuff like formaldehyde. He was like, what's this taste like? Is it going to be good in a beer? Nope. And he almost sparked an international incident, because we came across a culture which basically worshipped griffins in the same way that, well, didn't worship them, they were holy animals. So in the same way as like cows are holy in India, in this culture griffins were holy. And of course Burleth is like, essence of a griffin. Right, crossbow, let's see if I can bring one down. And in the course of that campaign, he actually discovered how to unlock magical properties in alcohol. So even though he started out as a fighter, he became like a multi-class fighter alchemist, as he was able to brew magic into alcohol. And I think that actually makes a really good god, to be honest. Burleth the Brewer. His story's written right there. Well, he was such a silly character. Thought it would harvest the griffin. Oh no, that's what it was. It wasn't elbow grease, it was griffin grease. Griffin grease was the ingredient. So he needed to kill a griffin, render its fat, and then put the grease of that into a beer. Which he actually did. That was one of the ingredients he successfully got. Got him in a bucket load of trouble, but he did. And like, we found ourselves in the Underdark and he started eating all of the mushrooms in the Underdark. Yeah. He was a fun character. And actually it makes a lot of sense for there to be a god of brewing. Because they believe that human agriculture started because of brewing, because it was a way of purifying water. So rather than it being about like being able to bake bread, it was about making beer, and then they kind of realized, oh, we could eat this too. Which incidentally is also how I discovered online shopping. When I was at university, my house was at the top of a big hill, and the grocers, or the supermarket was at the bottom of this hill, and we always used to, like every week, grab 2 crates of beer and then lug them up that hill. And one day I was like, I wonder if I can just get this delivered. Oh, look at that. Asda delivers crates of alcohol. Fantastic. Did that for a few weeks. I was like, hang on. They probably deliver food as well. So basically what this conclusion seems to be drawing towards is I need to play more in D&D so that I can have more characters to turn them into gods. I'm trying to think of like some of the other characters. Like Churlish was one of Highwind's characters. That is Tarko in the D&D campaign at the moment. God of the Moon is definitely going to be one of Irelissa's. In fact, I'll probably let Gerard come up with that character. Death Memory and History, I think, is an interesting one. It's actually kind of close to the Raven Queen, while being somewhat less weird. Oh, we don't have, kind of mix in darkness and secrets. Doesn't necessarily need to be an evil god. Always a good reason to play D&D. Can't wait for my children to be grown enough to play a singular version of it with them. Yeah. Would the God of the Moon also be the God of Hunters and Beasts? I was actually thinking the God of the Moon would also be the same as Water, Oceans and Sailing. Because of the tides. But no, I'm going to keep the moon separate, and if Evilbind Moonlight wants more domains or more things related to the moon, I'll let him choose. And you're right, like we shouldn't necessarily come up with the names now, as long as we have the domains and the... See, here's the thing, I would like to have something like this for each of these categories. So, Berleth the Brewer is Jovial Dwarf. I'm going to say that he is related to the dwarves. Let's say he's a dwarf. Jovial, large bearded man, because he was actually large for a dwarf. But probably derived from the Dwarven Pantheon. A jovial, large-bearded man on the quest to discover the ultimate brew. Oh, the text is too small. I'm gonna do this. There you go. Oh, hey, Igel. Is he a galactic mining dwarf? I mean, he could be. And let me know when you're ready. I'm quite happy doing this until people appear. But you are the first of those people to appear, so... Whenever you're ready. I think the God of Darkness and Secret should be a shadow. But a shadow of what? Shadow doing what? Like in the current D&D campaign, I have a lot of shadowy, secret-y... He could actually be dark. Hello. Nope. Let's unmute myself. Hello. How are you doing?
All good.
Good.
I heard you say God of Darkness and Secrets, and then I dropped off the stream not to cause feedback.
Fair enough. It was quite well timed. Like the God of Darkness and Secrets. Hello.
Hello!
says this disembodied voice.
Awesome.
So yeah, we can start Deep Rock Galactic if you wish. Get a game
Yeah,
in.
let's go for it.